It certainly pulls together several of the horror elements you've been reading over. What was that? Why is everything all spooky?
Interesting.
Cthulhu, is that you, Blood? Or was it you? Was it you with your pretty, pretty eyes, Aster? Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir du Vide, and today I want to play a game called Arum. The sunlight hits your eyes through the small, square windows in the far wall, and you blink awake. Your vision is blurred for a few moments as you blink the sleep from your eyes, then groan loudly as you sit up. You don't know exactly when you woke up, but more importantly, you're not sure when you fell asleep. You never would have chosen to fall asleep at your desk, bent at the uncomfortable angle that you're now very much regretting. Unfortunately, you also can't say that this is the first time you fell asleep while working late into the night. And it won't be the last either. Your desk is littered with scattered papers, a swarm of various textures, colors, and sizes. Each page is marked with whatever writing tool you were able to get a hold of at the time. It goes from pencil to pen to crayon. Crayons, pens, one instance of a marker that had smudged terrifically across multiple pages. It looks like you've been making a mess of it for weeks, despite you only being here for sub-12 hours. True to form, when you got in last night, you didn't unpack much. Your suitcase is open, shoved in a corner of the small basement studio. Your backpack is on the couch, completely deflated and looking ravaged. It was the only thing you unpacked last night, resulting in the mess that served as your pillow last night. A ring of books borders your desk, stacked high to resemble a fortress wall. There aren't nearly enough shelves down here. You stretch your stiff neck and rub the sleep from your eyes, when suddenly, there's a sound from the floorboards above you, freezing you in place. A sudden moment of clarity washes over you. You realize that this must have been the sound that woke you, creaking steps above you, in the main house. You're supposed to be alone. You grab the old wooden bat your father affectionately calls the security system and head upstairs, keeping a low profile. Your footsteps are quiet on the stairs. It's a good thing you took your shoes off. Your socks pad against the steps. You round the staircase into the large foyer of the main house. The front door is closed, but your ears did not deceive you. You are definitely not alone. Who are you? And do you have food or money? They start visibly and whirl around. Hi! I like your style, G. This person is very tall. Easily one of the tallest people you've ever seen. He's paler than most as well, his skin nearly pearlescent in color. His hair is a dark and disheveled mid-length cut, and his features, down to his jawline, are razor sharp. Him cute. But there's one feature that really catches your gaze. His eyes. I was looking at his razor sharp teeth, but okay. They're bright with a gold that reminds you of sunshine, and an intelligence that gives you pause. He's obviously surprised by you, but he recovers quickly. His gaze rakes you up and down, taking in the sight of you, brandishing your bat and likely terrified expression. His own expression relaxes quickly. He looks almost amused. What the hoo-ha? That is not the sound that I was expecting. The first one caught me off guard, but now you really caught me off guard there. I'm sorry, I don't speak Banjo-Kazooie. My apologies. I wasn't anticipating anyone at home. His voice is deeper than you expected. Too deep for the litheness of his frame and features. It has a rolling quality, like thunder, that distracts you. Oh, so it's more like corpse husband. There is no way that I'm able to get that deep. Your answer is more sputtering than you would have hoped for. Obviously, but here I am, so... So... Go on, get. Or maybe give me your number. You gesture with your bat, somewhere between a threat to swing and a sweep in his direction. You're sweating, and you pray he doesn't notice. You also hope they don't notice how disheveled you are. God, you also hope you don't have dried drool on your face. You cut off the thought. It's utter nonsense. You better get out before I call the police. Or, wait, no, I called the police already, so don't make me use this bat. Good one. Good one, me. The lanky, frustratingly attractive person before you chuckles, sending another short circuit through your brain. It's a haunting sound, not the loveliest you've heard. It's far too visceral to be lovely, like the dry groan of a tree trunk snapping. Oh. Well, I would greatly enjoy that.
I'm very sorry. It seems there's been some kind of misunderstanding.
He takes a step forward, his stance still unsettlingly relaxed, and slides a hand into his pocket.
I'm supposed to be here. For the cat.
Cat? What cat? You blink once, twice. For the... cat? Your mind feels sluggish, embarrassingly slow at pulling up the image of the large gray and black tabby. Bartholomew? Oh. Your face flushes red immediately. You quietly curse yourself. And the darned cat! Aster's smile has a wicked edge, amusement twinkling in those golden eyes.
So, may I ask your name?
You clear your throat, desperately trying to dredge together some semblance of composure. Of course. I'm sorry. I'm Espoir.
Lovely to meet you, Espoir.
Ooh. Aster let himself in, without knocking or anything. That's... unsettling, but makes sense. Weird, really fluffin' weird. Or expected he didn't realize anyone was here. What is it? First of all, this is neat. For a second, I thought I was gonna have to play the card game where the cards get shuffled and you gotta figure out where the queen is. Yeah, I'd definitely be rattled. I'd still be holding that bat, so unsettling, but makes sense. Bartholomew, as if knowing what kind of embarrassment he's caused you, appears at the bottom of the stairs. He passes you without a glance and winds himself around Aster's legs, purring loudly. Oh. Your eyebrows raise, mildly impressed. Barty isn't known for talking to many people outside the family, and even then is considered more of a curmudgeonly roommate than a companion. Aw. It's as much confirmation as any that Aster's being honest with you. He's clearly familiar with the cat. He leans down, bending his long legs to scratch behind Bartholomew's ears. Oh. The cat nuzzles against him happily before making his way into the kitchen, looking back expectantly for Aster to follow. He doesn't, instead straightening himself and directing his attention to you once more.
Again, my apologies for the shock. Apparently your sister failed to communicate the entirety of the plan to either of us.
Your brain stutters once more, struggling to assign meaning to his words. Your sister? Oh, of course. You know, the sister that you've had your whole entire life. You roll your eyes and finally drop your stance with the bat, leaning it against the wall by the front door instead. Camilla must have asked them to check in on the cat while the family was away. It was quite like her to forget to alert you to a change of plans, actually. You sigh loudly. That makes sense. I'm sorry about this. About this bat that I was about to thwack you with. You chuckle awkwardly. Aster nods, his smile growing marginally.
Not to worry. I don't mind at all.
Your face heats, and it takes effort not to divert your gaze, but you refuse to let this man get the best of you. Or, at least, not let him know that he was. So, are you a social worker too? You're met with a bark of startled laughter. It's both jarring and contagious, making you smile as well.
No. I'm very much not. I work in the legal department.
You snort. Fair enough, you suppose. Those are quite opposing fields at times.
Are you here alone?
No, I'm not going to let a stranger know that I am alone. The question throws you off immediately, and you frown at him.
Due to the trip, I mean.
He seems to note the discomfort he's caused, and is quick to try and amend it.
Camilla mentioned the whole family was going, and yet here you are. They all went to Europe, was it? Some kind of tour?
Ah, yes. That. You let a long sigh out through your nose. You're definitely not bitter about that. Definitely not bitter. Yeah, unfortunately I had a big project that overlapped a lot with the trip, so I wasn't able to go. But of course, my project ended early. Aww. By the time I found out, it was too late to change the plans, so here I am. Stuck at home while my family gallivants through, I think it's Italy at the moment.
I see. That is quite disappointing.
You forget yourself for a moment and snort loudly, nodding. It sure is. In the following pause, you mentally throttle yourself for snorting like that. Embarrassing. You smooth your hands over your clothing, half smoothing wrinkles as if you can somehow salvage this incredibly awkward introduction. Luckily, Aster is gracious enough to ignore your snort, just as he's been ignoring your disheveled state.
And what do you do for work?
I'm a ghostwriter. I get hired to do the brunt of writing on major projects. Books, sometimes articles, publications. This most recent contract was for a movie, and I had to be on location for the duration of it.
Sounds quite glamorous.
It's really not. It sounds much better than it is. Boring locations, a lot of work, no credit. The money is pretty good, if I'm honest, but I move around so much that it's not much use to me. I'd rather be in Europe, I guess is what I'm saying. You trail off. Why are you oversharing to this stranger? Because he's cute and he looks like a goth?
Well, if you'd like, I can walk you through the routine for the cat. Since I'm familiar, it's quite simple.
That would be great. Thank you. He walks you through the aptly described simple routine for Barty. Camilla has been known to go overboard for her cat, but it seems at the moment she has him on a very reasonable regimen of wet food. So, how did Camilla rope you into taking care of her cat? And why didn't she tell me about it? You smirk at him a little. She's your sister, and the cat is in the house you'll be living in for the foreseeable future. So it made perfect sense for you to take care of Bartholomew. But some not quite coworker friend? A lawyer, nonetheless?
Well, I'm sure you're familiar. Camilla does not make it easy to say no to her.
You chuckle. You were very familiar.
But if I'm being honest, she did persuade me in part by the idea that I might get to meet you.
Oh no! Your eyebrows shoot up into your hairline, and you don't even want to guess how red your face just flushed. Very, based on the feeling of it. Aster was not polite about this particular show of embarrassment. In fact, he seemed to enjoy it.
She talks about you often, and I'll admit I was quite curious about you.
You look at your hands, focusing very hard on the rough edge of your thumbnail. Well, I do apologize that you were so aggressively conned. Hopefully you can get some kind of work reimbursement. God, what are you even saying? This is horrible. Abort mission, you need to get out of here. So the social interaction is not working. Run!
I don't think that will be necessary. I'm finding it to have been very worthy of my time.
You genuinely hope you burst into flames so you don't have to make eye contact with Aster with your face this intensely red. Your face may have actually turned purple by now. In what you're starting to suspect is a very rare act of mercy, Aster deftly changes the subject.
I only moved here a few months ago. I must admit this town is much quieter than I typically prefer. I usually find myself drawn to cities, but I chose to live nearby to shorten my commute. Perhaps you can enlighten me on some local entertainment.
Sadly, not really. This town makes small towns look busy. It's barely a town at all. Everything is so far apart from everything else.
Oh, so you're a seasoned local, I take it.
Yeah, the house is new, but the town, we've been here as long as I can remember. And I wasted very little time running for the hills. Not that it can't be a nice place to live. It's just not my thing.
And what is your thing, exactly?
I enjoyed Boston a lot. It's got the city energy, but it's not quite as crowded as Manhattan. Aster is strangely easy to talk to. Even while fumbling and humiliating yourself with a shocking amount of regularity, talking to him is effortless. Too effortless, honestly. You clap your mouth shut on your next words before you can embarrass yourself further. He's charming, calm, clever. Exactly the kind of person Camilla would usually befriend. You wonder why she's never mentioned him before, even with him being new.
Well, I won't keep you further, given that I obviously interrupted your day.
No, well, I mean, yes, but no, it wasn't a problem. Thank you. Oh my God, stop talking while you're ahead. You haven't scared him away yet. Don't start talking about anime.
I did set aside this time to continue checking on the cat for the remainder of the week. If you don't mind, I have no problem continuing to do so.
It's tempting to say yes, just to have him by again, but it's so much of an imposition that you can't bring yourself to agree. Says you. No, I couldn't ask that. Thank you, though. It's very kind of you. I can feed the cat. I can brush the cat. Maybe I'll call you if I need to clip their nails or give them a bath. Aster acquiesces and heads to the door. You walk with him, already making a mental note to ask Camilla why she hadn't talked about him before. They must get along pretty well for her to talk about your family with him.
It was a genuine pleasure meeting you, Espoir. I hope our paths cross again soon.
You've collected yourself enough to at least not flush completely maroon at this and sputter out a goodbye. With your unexpected guest now gone, you head down to get ready for the day. Traveling yesterday was exhausting, and you can't shake the feeling that you didn't sleep at all, probably thanks to sleeping at your desk rather than a bed. You finish unpacking the majority of your clothes, tossing dirty clothes into one pile, clean into another. You want to wash up, take a shower, refresh yourself, but the books are a problem. They're piled on nearly every surface of the room, including the floor, making navigating the space unnecessarily nightmarish. You decide instead to change out of your travel clothes, splash your face with some water, brush your teeth, and spend a good chunk of the day cleaning your floor. Finally, you put most of your books on some shelf or another, and place all your current research within easy access, piled on your desk and the kitchenette counter. Your phone buzzes loudly. You anticipate Camilla checking in on Barty, but the name is one that surprises you. Theo. Theo was the kind of friend who had always almost been something. but never was. Aw, for one reason or another. It had been a while since you had last spoken, more than a year, the last time you'd been living in the area. Hey, Espoir, I heard you're back in town. You stare at your phone, trying to decide what to do next when it buzzes again. Want to catch up? You respond with, the cards. The cards. The cards will tell. You're kind of tired, but you're willing to spend time with them. Sure. Sure, buddy. Let's hang out. Let's relax. No sooner than you send off your response do you hear a knocking on the door upstairs. You sigh to yourself. You like seeing Theo, but part of you had hoped you'd have some time to mentally prepare. You go to open the door and let Theo in. Hey, buddy. Man, that looks like a cozy outfit. They smile broadly when they see you, but you know them too well for that. You can see the nervousness in their eyes. Hey, it's so nice to see you. I just hope stopping by was fine. You bite back your reflex response of, well, it has to be, I guess, and instead smile at them, waving them inside. Hey, at least you knocked. Why wouldn't I knock? Sorry, ignore me. There's just been an unusual amount of visitors today. You wave Theo inside. They look around, admiring the grand foyer entrance. It was certainly much larger than your old family home. The house is very nice. Thanks. It was built in the 1800s or something. Dad is very into it. As he should be. It's something to be proud of. Please tell him I send congratulations. You grin at them. Theo defaults to politeness when they're nervous. They've done this since they were 8 years old, something that made you fast friends. There was something you found genuinely hilarious about an 8-year-old being so formal at that age. True to form, Theo holds out their hand for you to shake, and you snort back a laugh before grasping it and shaking it with cartoonish vigor. Hello, sir. Yes, how do you do? They roll their eyes at your terrible joke, but it has the desired effect, and their smile relaxes. Come on, my place is downstairs. You led them down to the basement apartment, moving some notebooks off the couch to make room for you to sit. As you move the books, you notice one on top of the pile that you don't remember putting there. It's a play titled The King in Yellow. 1. I know what that book is about. I know what that means. 2. The text is kind of scritchy. Why is the text kind of scritchy? I saw that. Shenanigans. It's a book titled The Shadow over Innsmouth. That's not any better. That's still part of the Cthulhu mythos. You hold it a moment longer before placing it off to the side again. You feel like you're forgetting something you want to remember, but it doesn't matter right now. I see you're still traveling with all your books. This isn't all my books. Man, I'm never expecting that sound. Oh, I see. Very funny. You roll your eyes at them and take a seat. So, how was your trip? You smile stiffly. This is the difficult part with Theo. Despite the fact that you've been friends for more than 2/3 of your lives, every meeting after time apart feels like this. Awkward. Forced. It's hard to remember in these moments that it won't stay that way, but it's true. Eventually it goes back to normal and you're so glad to have them in your life. This was by far the longest you've ever gone without talking, regularly at least. It was long. I'm tired, but it's nice to be back. I'm glad the project is done. It was not my favorite. You can see the question form in their mind, almost form on their tongue. Then why go? Why go so far for so long? I'm sorry. But neither of you want to have that fight again, so they go in a different direction. Well, I'm glad to have you back, Espoir. I'd love to go back to seeing you more often. Me too, Theo. There's a slightly too long pause. So, how long are you back then? They're trying to be neutral about it, but you can see how nervous this question makes them. I'm actually going to be around for a while. I don't plan on taking on any new projects anytime soon.
Really? Why not? You love to travel.
You smile at their sincerity. Your wanderlust may have been the cause of many fights, but they'd never deny you of it. Yeah, I do, but I'm tired of working on other people's ideas, at least for now. I want to do something of my own.
That's amazing. You should. I've always said your talents were better spent on your own stuff.
There's a pause. You know they mean well, but the comment still makes your teeth clench. It's the same thing they said the last time you spoke. That selling your skills without taking credit was a waste of your abilities, like you were participating in some grand deception of the public. Yeah, I know. Anyway, how is work for you?
Actually, it's great.
That certainly wasn't the answer you were expecting. For years, Theo had been working at a job where they hated their boss, their work, basically everything but the paycheck.
I left my old job, obviously, if things weren't going well. I ended up reaching out to... You remember that restaurant on Carmen Street? The one with the fire last year?
You nod.
Well, this woman, her name is... Well, it doesn't matter. But she bought the restaurant and completely remodeled it. She brought on a new executive chef and brought me on as their chef de patisserie.
Oh. Your grin is genuine, and you feel the relief flood through you as the awkwardness shatters. Is the lady's name actually not that important? Theo, that's amazing. You've waited for so long. I'm so proud of you for going after it.
And Theo is basically a pastry chef? Thanks. Yeah, you're right. And I should have told you about it right away, but I wanted to see the look on your face. It makes it feel more real.
You take their hand in yours and give it a firm squeeze before pulling it back into your own lap and clasping your hands together. So maybe I missed something, but Theo and the MC seemed like they were a thing. Like a real thing.
It really is different when you love what you do. I'm sorry I didn't understand that before.
Your smile falters slightly, but you manage to keep it in place. That's okay. You get it now, right? They proceed to tell you every detail of their new job, including several that go over your head, like the ideal baking soda to baking powder ratio. I would like to know that.
So, what's the Espoir project?
The question comes out of nowhere, and for a moment you're too surprised to answer. Theo never asks about your writing. You're working on a... Why are you giving me the choice? Let's see, a horror, a tragic, or a mystery? I like mystery.
I love a good mystery, especially the ones with supernatural origins, or the unknowable things. It keeps getting interesting. It pulls all the magic from it if it's all spelled out and explained as some human doing some human thing, and, well, I am talking a lot. I'm sorry. Mystery. Sounds good. Normal level of enthusiasm here.
Oh, does he really love mysteries? You're laughing too hard to hide it, and they grin awkwardly, waiting out your amusement with flushed cheeks. Oh, you're almost making me forget about the hottie that just walked in a couple minutes ago. Theo glances over and sees a book on the table. Plucking it up, wedged between the pages, is the bookmark you've had for several years. It's a series of cut-up plane tickets all taped together, each trimmed down to show only the date and destination. Current read? Research, I take it. You fight the urge to snatch the book away from their hands. You're not sure why it bothers you so much that they hold it, but your fingers twitch in your lap. Yeah, I'd say research. It's an interesting one. It's hard to explain, though. One of those unknowable horror books, you know? But I don't think you'd like it. too scary.
You force a smile, and they nod, placing the book down between you. You grab it, holding it in your lap, and running your thumb over the pages. The book is soft from wear and age, and pieces of paper sit loosely pressed within it. I read something that had a similar vibe a few weeks ago. I bet you'd really like it. I could bring it for you at some point, maybe. You smile at them and nod.
That'd be great!
A yawn distorts your last word. Oh, so it's more like, that'd be... 'Cause you didn't sleep well. A yawn distorts your last word, and you cover your mouth to block most of it. I should let you rest. You're obviously tired, and you only just got home. They stand, wiping their palms on their pants anxiously before turning to face you. You stand as well, and there's a long pause.
I'll, walk you to the door.
This is new. Usually once the awkwardness passes, it's past, at least until the next gap in communication. But it's already returned with a vengeance, and you find yourself walking them up the stairs in a tense silence. Well, thanks for having me over.
Of course. It was, good to see you again, and I'll see you soon.
They hesitate at the door, shifting their weight back and forth before holding their arms out to you for a hug. They let you decide whether to close the distance or not, but you know you couldn't bear the idea of leaving your oldest friend there like that. The hug feels awkward.
Awkward sibling hug?
Awkward sibling hug. Pat, pat.
Sibling hug. Pat, pat. You still fit together as naturally as you always have. Your arms are wrapped around their torso. One of theirs is around your shoulders, the other cradling the back of your head gingerly. But something feels strange about it, and you have a suspicion that it has to do with how loudly their heart pounds in their ribs. Oh, I was actually getting a little bit teary-eyed from that. Like you have a friend that you haven't talked to and you really want to build that bridge up, but you can't, but when you hug them, it still feels like it always did. You head back downstairs, flinging yourself onto the bed. It's the first time you've actually laid on it, and it's surprisingly comfortable. You roll over and are about to take an ill-advised, far too late in the day to be a good idea nap. I've taken some of those. When your phone buzzes, you don't bother containing your loud groan before you grab it.
Now what?
This time, it actually is Camilla, sending you pictures from the trip. Gee, thanks, sis. Well, it's not their fault that you couldn't go. You scroll through them with a half-smile on your face. At least they're having fun. Most of them are your dad trying to pretend to hold up the Leaning Tower of Pisa, failing, and looking like he's looking like he's subsequently on the brink of being crushed by the landmark. Your mom is visible in the foreground, blushing furiously, and definitely pretending not to know your dad. The top of Camilla's forehead and one eye is visible in the bottom left corner of some of the pictures. You assume she was trying to take both a selfie and capture your parents' antics in the same photo. Aww. Sure be nice if I was there with you. You feel an odd tug on your heart, a pang that tugs down the corner of your mouth. It's almost like loneliness. Feeling left out, maybe? Not for the first time. You wish they could have planned their trip just a few weeks later, so you could have gone too. You close the conversation out without answering her. The rest of your evening passes uneventfully. Where's that cat? Bartholomew made his first appearance since Astor had left, refusing to enter the studio and choosing instead to cry loudly from just outside the door. "Entertain me! Entertain me, human!" You tried to go out and gather him, but he refuses to let you catch him, much less bring him into the studio apartment. Upon giving up, he inevitably returns, yowling once more and pacing by the stairs. "Listen here, kitty." You follow him up the stairs, wondering if maybe Barty's going to lead you to what he wants,
but he simply paces around the foyer, meowing plaintively. He sounds so distressed that it upsets you, but you're helpless. You don't know what he wants. Finally, he goes upstairs, and you give up. Maybe he just misses Camilla. Cats don't understand the difference between gone for a while and gone forever. Yeah, that's probably it. Where is my Camilla? She's gone. Return her to me. Meow! It's late, and you still haven't eaten. But to be honest, you're really not hungry either. Why are you giving me the choice? Yes, force yourself to eat anyways, at least something small. Or your friends will be sending you text messages. Did you eat yet? Put something in your gullet. You find a snack in the small kitchenette pantry and nibble on it briefly before putting it away. You just can't bring yourself to really eat when you don't feel hungry at all. In fact, now you feel a little nauseous. You sigh. Now you still gotta put something on your stomach. You'd expected the cat to come back, but now it's not even meowing at your door anymore. Probably asleep. You decide to go upstairs and set out its wet food for dinner and one of the treats Camilla left. You thought Barty would want to spend more time with you. It's been a while since you were around him, but he always liked you up until now, even if he was Camilla's cat and not yours. Not to mention, with no one else home, you're really the only option for cuddles or affection. But even with the food and the treats out, it still doesn't come to you. You wait for a while, even taking some steps back and waiting further back to see if he'll come, calling him a few more times. He doesn't come, although you hear the sound of him scampering around upstairs, playing with something. You can't help but feel a little bit rejected by the cat, and maybe a little offended. At the very least, the cat's behavior is very strange. Not really. He's just being a cat. Maybe Barty just doesn't remember you. He's probably just mad that Camilla isn't here, or Barty is avoiding you. I think he just misses his mommy. Maybe since you're here and she's not, he blames you. You decide to leave the door open for Bartholomew anyway, in case he changes his mind or wants to sleep with you, rather than by himself in Camilla's room. You settle in for the evening and pick up the book you started on the flight. You constantly forget the title. It's something about monarchies and... No, wait, that doesn't sound right. You got it at a tag sale and the cover is so worn that you can't make out the title page anymore. That's ominous. Like many older books and plays, it also doesn't have a title page inside the book. It simply begins. Why do you have such a cursed-looking book? So you have to settle for what you remember from the description the man at the tag sale gave. It's an old, obscure play with a strange reputation, but the first act has been mind-numbingly boring. It's supposed to be a very dramatic, psychological thriller-type play, but so far, mundane at best. You remove your plane ticket bookmark from the book and resume reading. Predictably, you don't make it very far before falling asleep. The next morning is uneventful, thankfully. Did the cat eat the food? You didn't rest particularly well, but you're feeling much more productive, if only because some sourceless anxiety is buzzing through your veins, more effective than any caffeine. You unpack your suitcases, reorganize your books once more, and feed the cat, who still hasn't made a reappearance from last night. For just a moment, there's a tug of worry, and then you realize he's probably still sound asleep upstairs. You sit down at your desk, your new pile of books stacked at the corner, along with a few of your notebooks and a journal you use to keep track of ideas. Your current read from the tag sale is on the top of the pile. It was boring, but in flipping through the pages this morning, you thought you saw something interesting in the second half of the book. You immediately turned the pages away to avoid spoilers, but it had reignited your interest in the book. Just as you open your notebook to start brainstorming, your phone rings. You consider completely removing the battery from your phone for a brief moment, but you stop yourself. You sigh loudly, seeing the caller ID, and answer. What, Oscar? It's a contracted editor you worked with on the last job, and a pain in the butt. Or, wait, was it the job before? No, that doesn't make sense. This most recent job. What is that sound? Did Jack pay you? You blink, confused for a moment, then frown. Yeah, of course he did. Of course. That bastard is a piece of crap, ending the project like he did. He would absolutely be the type not to. Oscar's typically gruff voice is dripping with venom, so he is definitely still mad. Ooh. Oscar, get to the point. Huh? Did you actually look at your check yet, Espoir? Uh-oh. You messing with my money? Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
You haven't, actually. You put Oscar on hold and dig through your bag until you find the stiff white envelope with your last check in it. Opening it, you immediately spot the problem and groan loudly. You take Oscar off hold and shoulder the phone to your ear. He gave me your check instead of mine. Indeed he fluffin' did. I don't suppose it's too much to hope that you have mine? Apparently not, 'cause I do. You breathe a sigh of relief. At least it's just a slight exchange. The last thing you want to do is track down other members of the dismissed crew. Ironically, Oscar is probably the easiest to deal with, even if it's only because he still doesn't know about your part in ending the project. Well, that's good at least. We have very different versions of good scribbles. Don't fluffing call me that, spell check. Oscar makes a sound that could have been a quick laugh, but was probably more like huffed profanity. I'm going to come get it. Your eyebrows shoot up. That you did not expect. Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions. I want my money, Lebowski. I'm home. Yeah, no crap. I'll be there in 15. Goodness. What? Fluffing heck. The line drops, and you're left staring at your phone, dumbfounded. Oh great, an angry, gruff man is going to come to my home. Your eyes immediately drift to the journal with your notes from the job. The script edits Oscar was supposed to finish. But you did it instead, faster than he could, ending the job really early and snagging nearly a third of his pay. It was enough to work on your own project for a while. You shove the journal into your bag and toss it into the corner of the room. It's much easier to push the guilt aside when the evidence isn't staring at you. Your gut clenches suddenly, the fizzing in your blood spiking to panic. Oscar had opened the check and seen that it wasn't his name, but had he seen the amount written on the check? Was the pay stub easily visible? You pace your room anxiously for the next 15 minutes. It had seemed far too soon, and now it feels infinitely too long. A loud banging noise echoes in your ears. It's Oscar, who sounds like he's on the verge of breaking and entering. You dash up the stairs to meet him, taking them two at a time. The exertion almost gives you an excuse for your quickening pulse. Ah, he's kinda cute and also scary. Opening the door, you're immediately reminded of exactly how huge Oscar really is. While working on set, you were both usually at a vague distance, only interacting when you'd fight about the script or who finished the coffee without refilling the pot. He fills your doorframe, perhaps even more so because his arms are crossed and he's glaring already. How did you get here so fast? Oscar rolls his eyes, ignoring your question entirely and looking around the foyer with an arched brow instead. This is some house, huh? It's my parents', not mine. Didn't know you came from money scribbles. Don't call me that, and I don't. My parents just bought the place. Dad's a retired contractor. He's been saving for forever to buy this house.
This one, specifically?
You shrug. Yep, specifically this one. He likes old houses, and there aren't many in town, so... I just live in the apartment downstairs. For now, anyway.
You gonna give me my check or what?
I left it downstairs. Oscar lets out a deflated sigh. Just come downstairs with me. I made some coffee. The hospitality is a reflex, courtesy of your mother's strong belief that all hosts should be providing refreshments to their guests. And the presence of coffee demands its subsequent distribution. Oscar sighs loudly once more, but you see the corner of his mouth twitch at the reference to your old war ground.
Fine. Not for long, though.
Obviously.
I don't want you here, sir. I got creepy books to read.
Into your studio, you swing past the counter to turn off the coffee percolator before it can burn its contents. You pour out 2 mugs, the aroma quickly overwhelming the small space. You push the fuller one towards Oscar. Black coffee, just how he likes it. The second mug gets a pour of your favorite vanilla-flavored creamer until the liquid is more tan than brown. Oscar makes a noise of disgust, rolling his eyes, but saying nothing. He gave up on getting you to drink coffee properly some time ago. He takes a deep sip, then sighs, sounding almost content.
This isn't crap coffee, Scribbles. I'm impressed.
Don't call me that. And thanks, I know. He scoffs and takes another deep sip.
So, how are you doing post-Columbus fallout?
You shrug, not wanting to talk much about Columbus.
I'm still shocked. They screwed over so many people by ending early the way they did. I mean, I understand wanting to cut costs overall, but usually we're kept on for months into filming. I'm sure a bunch of us were counting on that. I know I was.
You look down at your coffee, swirling it slowly in your mug. Creamer that hasn't mixed in yet sits on the surface, creating clouds of near white. You try to identify shapes in them like clouds. You don't want to think about this right now. Probably not ever. When you look up, Oscar is looking at you with a serious expression, but when he speaks, it's to change the subject, to your significant relief.
So, what's your next project, then? Gonna scribble for some 20-something socialite who thinks they need an autobiography before 25?
You snort. He sounds like Theo. God forbid those two ever meet. No, actually, I'm gonna take some time away from ghost writing. I'm hoping to get my own project off the ground.
Oh, really? Huh.
You raise your eyebrows back at him, but to your surprise, he smiles a few moments later.
Glad to hear it. I think you do well with your own piece. Let me know if you need an editor. Lord knows I've got time.
Your mouth hangs open, and it takes you a solid few moments to regain control of your jaw. Wow, really? Thanks, Oscar. I'll take you up on that.
Man, Scribbles, I offer one favor and you drop the name-calling just like that? Had I known you were so easy to please.
There is something absolutely sinful in how he lets his voice trail off, how gravelly his tone becomes. Your face flushes in a way that you don't like or understand, forcing you to look away for a few moments to gather yourself. No, don't turn this into an enemies to lovers. And what about you? What's next? You can feel him still smirking, still watching you.
Right. Next for me.
His tone draws your eyes back to his face.
There's some brokerage happening in the next town over. Sale of land between the town and a major corporation moving in. I'm editing the contracts for the sale. It's thrilling work, I assure you.
You're not sure what to say, frowning and gripping your coffee cup tighter. Your fingertips ache slightly from the pressure.
Oh, don't look at me like that, Scribbles.
Like what? I wasn't looking at you like anything.
You absolutely were looking at me like something. It's not a big deal, really. It's a boring little job, but the pay's not bad at all. Worst part of the whole deal, well, besides the boredom, is the crappy motel I'm staying at.
Is it the one off the main road coming into town? He nods, and you wince. Crappy motel indeed.
Yep, I see you're familiar.
You chuckle a bit and shrug. You could say it has a reputation.
For what? Actually, no. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. In fact, I have at least another week and a half there, and I get the impression that it's imperative for me not to know.
You laugh, unable to contradict him, and he grins at you.
Well, I should get going. Get out of your hair and all that.
He tosses back the rest of his coffee like it's a double of vodka, and you can't help but shudder at the sight. Your mouth unpleasantly fills with saliva at the thought of drinking so much black coffee so fast. Ugh. You go and get his check, then hand it off to him. I'll walk you up.
Thanks for the coffee, Scribbles.
As you get to the top of the stairs, he looks around, looking deep in thought.
This house has very unsettling vibes.
You stare at him, taken aback. What are you talking about?
You can't feel it? It's very disconcerting. Spooky, even. Creepy. You know, it'd probably be a great setting for your book. You like that kind of stuff.
You're not sure how he knows this about you, but you're more focused on him calling your parents' home creepy. That's incredibly rude of you. He crows with laughter, shaking his head.
Well, my apologies to the house and its ornery occupant. It was not my intention to offend.
You roll your eyes. Oscar offers so many so frequently that you had a hard time believing that. By the way, how did you know where I lived? His gaze becomes focused, piercing. He looks you directly in the eyes with an intensity you're not sure you like.
It's written on the check, Scribbles.
Oh. He watches your reaction for a long moment before he taps the envelope with his new check against your forehead. He opens the door and is about to step out when he turns to you.
Really, though, this would be a great setting for your project. It feels like something here is waiting to devour you.
Is it the cat? Is it Bartholomew? You stare at him, wide-eyed. You feel found out somehow, and glare at him. Get out, spell check. He grins again, mimes tipping an invisible hat in your direction, and is gone. He's not so bad. He's pretty okay. He's pretty okay. You slam the door behind him. Bastard. Making fun of my Cthulhu house. Heading back downstairs, your annoyance ebbs away quickly, eroded by the intense desire to write. You don't even make it to your desk, snatching up a notebook from the couch and plopping down. Your pen scrawling over the page so quickly, the words connect to each other. The ideas hardly have time to register in your mind before they flow to the page. When you next look up, the sun is long set. Still, you don't quite register how long you've been contorted on the couch, scribbling away, until you stand up and every joint in your body protests. You stretch and groan loudly, which seems to alert Bartholomew that you have returned to the world of the living. You hear him start to meow loudly from the top of the stairs for his dinner. You head upstairs to placate the little beast. He waits at the top of the stairs, mouth open and little pink nose upturned as he cries, seemingly oblivious to your approach until the final moment. Eep! Startled at your sudden closeness, he bolts away from you and into the foyer, and a loud crash immediately follows. What did you break? Bolting up the last few stairs, you round the corner to see what made the noise. Bartholomew is nowhere to be seen, but the contents of the hall table have been sent scattering. Most of the table is set to rights easily enough, except the family portrait, taken after you got your first ghostwriting contract and were about to cross the country. It was an old picture, Camilla in her graduation cap and gown at Mom's instruction, you holding up the contract with the same pose that Camilla cradled her college degree. The frame had fallen, although the heavy frame itself had stayed intact. It was made of some kind of burnished metal, meant to look like solid silver, but felt much too heavy and much too hard to be real. The glass, however, had cracked, a jagged crack from the corner to the middle of the pane that then spidered out, loose pieces threatening to spill everywhere. Ooh. Carefully, you open the back of the frame and remove the picture so it isn't cut by the loose glass. As you do, you notice that the corner of the picture has a dark red, almost brown smudge on the bottom corner. You frown, rubbing your finger over it. It looks like blood. But how is that possible? Did you cut yourself? You glance over your hands. You don't think so. Rubbing at the picture again with your fingernail, you shift the photo back and forth. You can't see the blood mark anymore, just the slight reflection of the hall light against the smooth finish of the picture. You put the picture down on the table and take the frame to the kitchen, barely keeping the pieces of glass in place, and append the glass pane from the frame into the garbage. Pleased with the ease of the cleanup, you put the metal frame back on the hall table next to the picture. It's void of its pane, but still perfectly intact otherwise. You put Barty's food in his bowl and call him, even trying to tempt him by shaking his treat bag, but he doesn't reappear. He was probably spooked when he knocked the frame over. You roll your eyes at his cowardice. You're briefly tempted to go check on him. He's probably just hiding in Camilla's room, when your phone starts making a loud chirping noise from downstairs. You find your phone and shut off the alarm. Odd, you don't remember setting it. It's simply titled Edits. Probably something to do with the project in Columbus. You run your tongue over your teeth, briefly wrestling with some unsettling feeling in your stomach before deleting the alarm completely. You turn your attention to your desk, trying to find the best way to sort all of your books. Somehow, you've made a complete mess of them already. As you shuffle through, some scraps of paper fall out of one of the books, scattering across the floor. You stoop to pick them up, looking through them. Why? Why did everything taste scary for a second? These are notes from your last project. You frown. Something feels off. How did they get in that book? You don't remember putting them there. The content between that script and this book are completely different. You wouldn't have used a horror story for a reference for the Columbus script. It makes no sense. Trying to make sense of... And then the music just starts again as if nothing happened. So, related to that project, an alarm that you didn't set, and then you're finding notes about that project popping up in another book. Was that project haunted or something? Trying to make sense of it is starting to give you a headache, and you put the book and the notes on your desk. It doesn't really matter anyway. Right? Doesn't it? You rub your temples, tired, and decide to call it a night. Where's that cutie pie who's supposed to be helping me take care of this cat? You change into pajamas, set up your laptop, and put on your favorite show to help you fall asleep. It takes a few hours of canned laughter, but you finally doze off. You sleep through the night, fitfully, never fully succumbing to rest. You jerk up, every sense on high alert, trying to figure out what's setting off your internal alarms, and why the music suddenly faded out. Your eyes snap open, your body lurching with panic before your mind can catch up to why. Oh. Hello? You sigh loudly, relief flooding your system. Just a minute. It's that cutie pie. You throw some jeans on under your pajama shirt, taking deep breaths as your system tries to come back down from the jolt of adrenaline. By the time you head upstairs, everything except your heart seems to have gotten the memo and slowed to a reasonable pace. Hey.
Hey.
Good morning. Your voice is still raspy from sleep, your words a groggy mumble.
You look like you didn't sleep well.
You blink a few times, letting your brain catch up. Did he just say you look tired? Well, you do. You frown slightly. He's not wrong, but it's still a pretty rude thing to say, although the way he says it makes you feel like it wasn't intended as such. Yeah, well, I guess I've been pretty tired lately. Probably jet lag from traveling. You shrug. I've been a bit of a mess all around, actually. I keep misplacing things and losing my train of thought. You force a chuckle and bite your tongue before you embarrass yourself further. What is it about this person that makes you want to overshare like this? It makes your cheeks warm. He looks like he has good taste in music.
Well, I'm sure it doesn't help that I've rudely awoken you. Twice.
Your next chuckle doesn't have to be forced, and you shrug, waving away his comment.
I realized late last night that I still had the house key, and I don't have your number, so I thought I'd swing by and drop it off. I shouldn't have let myself in, though. I apologize. I knocked several times, but when I didn't get a response...
It's okay. You're fine. I'm just jumpy lately. Probably from staying in this old house all by myself.
Let me make it up to you. I'll make us breakfast.
Oh, no. No, I couldn't.
Please. It's the least I could do after catching you so entirely off guard. Twice.
They look you up and down as they say this, distinctly seeming to eye your pajamas to make their point. Hey! You cave. You're not particularly hungry, but you appreciate the gesture and find yourself soothed at the idea of spending time with Aster. He heads into the kitchen, and you follow to help him set up. To your surprise, he goes straight for the cabinet with the pans, maneuvering his way through the kitchen without any trouble. Does my sister have some explaining to do? Was she setting me up a boyfriend? You stare for a moment, surprised. He catches your stare and smirks, seemingly pleased to have caught you by surprise.
Don't worry about me. I've got this. Why don't you go finish waking up? Perhaps wash up. I don't want to completely disrupt your morning routine.
You begin to argue, but you acquiesce when he cuts you off with a spatula wave. He's got a point. It would be nice to brush your teeth and put on clothes that are a little less pajama and a little more outfit. You go back downstairs and wash up quickly, brushing your teeth and splashing your face with water. After, you change into an outfit that looks like you're at least trying to be part of the world today. You rub your hands over your face in an attempt to make yourself appear a bit more alert and presentable. But you give up after a few minutes in favor of heading back upstairs and rejoining Aster in the kitchen. What's cooking? You arrive upstairs to see Aster setting plates down on the counter. You take a seat at the counter, and he places a steaming cup of coffee, already pale with creamer, in front of you. Before taking the seat beside you, "How did you know that's how I like my coffee? Have you been talking to my sister?" The plate before you is laden with scrambled eggs, a few slices of bacon, some toast, and strawberries carefully sliced into quarters. Aw, it's a beautiful meal, and it smells delicious, but you just aren't hungry. Not wanting to reject his kindness or the gesture itself, you pick at the food anyway, making yourself take at least a few bites of everything.
How's your writing coming?
You shrug. Not much has happened with it yet, if I'm honest. I don't have much of a plot, just ideas, I guess. Still very much brainstorming, researching, stuff like that. I haven't even started to outline yet.
Then what's that, if you don't mind me asking?
He points to a small pile of papers neatly assembled at the edge of the counter. Even from here, you can recognize your own frantic scrawl inking across the page. You frown, reaching for the pages, and Esther slides them the rest of the way to you. Novel, Corpse Flowers. About a family home bought cheap due to all the murders there? Family moves in, bizarre events, madness, murder them all? When I quickly researched how to pronounce the title of this game, a Titan Arum is apparently one of those like big huge corpse flowers. And that flower in the title screen had an eyeball in it. What does it mean? Are there some shenanigans happening here? You chew your lip, frowning. You don't recall writing these, much less bringing them upstairs. What do you mean you don't recall writing them? It's undeniably your handwriting, but did you write them in a blind fit of passion? You're retracing your steps in your head when Esther's voice interrupts your thoughts.
I like the idea quite a bit. It feels very Fall of the House of Usher.
You're about to admonish him for reading over your notes. But before you can, your mind leaps to an idea incorporating some kind of eldritch horror to the story you've been trying to develop. Maybe not? Maybe don't do that? The words eldritch horror are kind of twitching. It certainly pulls together several of the horror elements you've been reading over.
What was that?
There's a deep, resonant chuckle. Why is everything all spooky? Bartholomew, help!
Interesting.
Cthulhu, is that you, Blood? Is that you, buddy? Or was it you? Was it you with your pretty, pretty eyes, Aster? Oh yeah, I just remembered. Aster is a type of flower. Is it that type of flower? You look up to Aster, then around you quickly, but you only find them studying a strawberry closely before popping it into their mouth. Odd. You could have sworn you heard. You swipe a pen from nearby and start writing your ideas beneath the rough pseudo-outline. You're so deeply focused on it, you forget your food and nearly forget Aster entirely. You apologize a few times, promising it's just another moment or two while you get this idea down. But he only smiles and urges you on with a twist of his wrist. You could sense his eyes gliding across your page, although you're sure he can't make out the actual words from where he sits. The ideas just keep flowing. Before you know it, Aster has finished his food, is clearing the plates and cleaning down the kitchen, and you've barely touched more than the coffee. You smile sheepishly when he takes your plate, but he seems entirely unbothered. In fact, he seems rather amused by your frantic jotting. When he's entirely finished cleaning up, even clearing away your emptied coffee mug, you finally put your pen down.
Seems you were quite inspired.
You grin sheepishly and nod. I was. Sorry about that.
Not at all. I've always found it fascinating to watch a creative like yourself at work. Thank you for allowing me to observe.
Your face flushes, and you look away from the force of his smile.
I should go. Allow you to enjoy your day. But before I forget...
He places a key on the counter. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll walk you to the door. You walk them to the door, but Aster pauses in the foyer, looking around.
Shame I didn't see my feline friend. Odd, too. He's always come to greet me until now.
He has? You wonder if you should be worried, now that you think of it. You haven't seen him since last night. It's the kitty, isn't it? It's the kitty doing all these shenanigans. It wants me to think he's doing it, but it's actually the kitty. Barty! Bartholomew! You're about to call him again when Aster holds up a hand to stop you. his head tilted as if listening.
Do you hear that?
You stop to listen. After... I felt that sound effect in my soul. After a brief moment, you do hear it. Baleful meowing coming from downstairs. Your eyebrows shoot up, and you look at Aster in surprise. Is that coming from the studio? He hasn't gone in there once since I've been here. You look around the little apartment, frowning. There aren't many places to hide. You hear it again. What are you doing, kitty? You and Aster follow the sound towards your bed and look underneath it. It's empty, save for a few books and papers that have escaped the piles. Bad kitty, stop scaring the life out of me. You gasp. Oh no. I think he's in the wall. He's in the gosh darn walls! You can't help the shrill note that enters your voice as panic shoots through you. And this is an old house, so he probably could. A cat probably could just get up in the walls. How the heck? You hear Barty's cry escalate to a loud yowling. Well, you shouldn't have got yourself in there, kitty. There's no doubt he's somehow inside the wall, behind your bed. Oh, you're gonna get a bath, kitty? That's impossible. How did he do that? How is he in there? It's entirely closed off.
I don't think that's our biggest concern right now. I think we should focus on getting him out.
But how are we supposed to do that? Aster hesitates visibly, then nods, as if coming to a decision in himself.
If you're okay with it, I can open the wall.
You nod vigorously, not needing time to consider.
I'll go see what tools I can find.
You get to work pulling the bed from the wall. It's heavy, but adrenaline makes you stronger than you would be. Soon enough, you have the bed moved well into the center of the room by the time Aster returns. He's got a hammer in one hand and a screwdriver in another. He shrugs when he sees you looking at him.
The best I could find on short notice, but I think it'll suit just fine.
Of course. Just get the kitty out of the wall. You're muttering and pacing, alternating between panicked guilt and cursing the cat under your breath.
No, I do need you to stay somewhat calm, Espoir. It'll be much easier to damage your lovely new apartment if I'm not distracted by the absolute storm of energy you're giving off.
You take a deep breath. It's entirely ineffective. Right. I'm calm. I'm fine.
Yes, indeed. You seem so.
Aster now turns his attention to the wall, tapping against the drywall with his knuckle. He opts for a spot several feet above where you can hear Barty meowing and pawing the inside of the wall. Aww. He wastes no time using the hammer and screwdriver to create a hole nearly 2 feet wide and a few inches tall. You flinch with each land of the hammer, the sound rattling around in your skull. Can you go faster?
It wouldn't do to get reckless and risk scaring him enough that he tries to escape further into the wall, no?
I guess. You don't have an argument for that, but it doesn't make you any less antsy.
You're as much of a mess as the poor cat. Why don't you come here and talk to him? See if you can't keep both of you calm.
You want me to talk to the cat? And say what? Maybe not that whatever that sound effect is.
Leave that up to you. I doubt he has strong preferences on the matter. It's more the cadence of your voice that I'm thinking will help.
He doesn't even like me anymore.
I'm sure that isn't the case. Besides, you don't have to be his favorite to be more favorable than silence and the sounds of a hammer.
Not having much of a response to that, you move to the wall, crouching down and putting your face close to the wall so that Barty can hear you better. You pick the first subject that comes to mind. Bartholomew, do you remember the first time we met? Camilla had just brought you home, and you were so small that you could fit in her sweatshirt pocket. Oh, I'd never seen such a pathetic little thing, but you were so sweet. We fought over who got to name you, in part because I thought Bartholomew was a stupid name. Talking helps. You start to calm down, your mind digging through the thick fog of time to pull up scraps of a memory you barely remembered you had. To your surprise, Barty also seems to calm down at the sound of your voice. The meows are becoming less frantic, and the pawing sounds have ceased.
Oh. Okay, I've just about finished. Step back from me, would you?
You give him the space he asks for, but you're not sure how that's almost done. There's a hole about the length and width of your forearm in the wall, but how would Barty get through? Aster grips the wall with both hands and yanks it down with an alarming speed and force, demolishing most of the wall in one fell swoop. You gape at him, taken aback. That was not what you'd expected. Aster simply dusts his hands off and looks at the wall. He looks proud of himself. When he sees your face, he chuckles softly and shrugs.
Didn't want to risk getting too close to him with the hammer and accidentally clipping him, so I improvised.
As if on cue, Bartholomew shoots from the now gaping hole in the wall. He looks filthy, covered in some kind of slime. Or muck. Oh! It looks like blood. Why you gotta do that? Why? Barty moves so quickly that you can't quite tell what's covering his fur. Before you can even get a chance to grab him, he's sprinted from the room entirely. You stare after him, dazed.
There, problem solved.
Aster's dusting the white powder of demolished drywall off his hands, surveying the scene with detached neutrality. When his gaze swings to you, it softens.
Feel better now?
You nod, dumbly, sinking down into the bed and staring at the hole in your wall. Oh, great! So now there's a hole in the wall of my creepy house that had some kind of ooze in it. It's right next to my bed. You can see the inside studs of the wall and the old wooden slats of the original build of the house, but not much else.
Are you certain? I can stay if you need.
Let him leave? Oh, asking him to stay the night is locked for now. So we can let him leave, you'll ask Theo to come stay the night, or let him leave, you'll ask Oscar to come if you need help. Oh, okay, we can choose between the two boyos. But not him. Alright. No, I'm gonna have my friend Theo come over. You know them better. No, you don't want to impose on them anymore. He's already done so much just by freeing the cat. You decide to let him leave. I'll be okay. Thank you, though.
If you're certain.
You assure them you are, thanking them profusely for his help before walking them to the door.
Good luck, then. Enjoy yourself.
Huh, right. Thanks. He leaves, and you're alone again. You already dislike it. Bartholomew, come here for cuddles and a bath. Maybe Theo can stay the night instead. After all, they've always been there for you. It's one of the best things about them. If you call, they'll pick up without fail. If you need something, they'll have it at your door within the hour. They always have. Oh, Theo is so sweet. Even if you were in the middle of a fight, which historically you usually were the one to instigate, they would still show up for you if something was important enough. Theo has always been one of the biggest constants in your life, one rivaling even your own family. It was nice catching up with them. You hadn't seen each other in a while. Now that you thought of it, how had they known you were in town? Between the jet lag, new house, and everything else, you hadn't had time to tell them yourself. Or maybe you had, and you simply forgot. You seem to be forgetting a lot of stuff lately, main character. You shake your head. Clearly you're exhausted. You pick up your phone and send them a quick text. You up? A nearly immediate response. Yeah, why? Can you come over? House is creepy by myself. Theo seems to take more time typing up this response. You see the typing bubble pop up and disappear multiple times. A couple more moments pass before you get a notification. Sure, be there in 30. You wonder what took them so long to reply, frowning a bit. You stare at the exchange for a couple moments, trying to figure out the reason for their prolonged response. The house is creepy alone. There's an insinuation in your message that you hadn't realized when you first sent it. They didn't interpret it that way, though, right? No way. This is Theo you're talking about. You've been friends practically forever. It's not like that. Are you sure it's not like that? Because it seems like it should be like that, main character. While you wait for them to arrive, you look for Bartholomew. He was absolutely filthy from that revolting slime. If you let that dry on his fur, it'll be a nightmare to wash off later. Bartholomew! We're gonna take a BATH! No response, as expected. You would have been surprised if that cat had shown up. He's probably licking it and getting in his mouth. You pace the house in search of him, but he's nowhere to be found. Maybe if you shake his treats. Nope, that didn't work either. It's like you're dead to him, a ghost haunting the house instead of a person living in it. Dang cat! Where could he be? You return downstairs and notice a utility room next to your room. Oh, maybe there. You enter the new room and discover it actually shares a wall with your own bedroom. The same wall that Bartholomew had gotten trapped behind, in fact. Didn't know this was here. Are there any ritualistic sigils in there? As you explore the cramped, unfinished space, you find several rolls of plastic sheeting. Why do we even have this? It makes a slightly warbled sound as you move it from its resting place. Must be for one of Camilla's art projects. No, wait. That doesn't seem right. Since when does Camilla do art? You shake your head. You're overthinking. It's just plastic, for Christ's sake. Those words were twitchy. Maybe you can use it for that gaping hole in your room. Just need something to secure it. You search the remainder of the room, but coming up short, you find yourself getting increasingly impatient. The house was already creepy enough, but this specific room... It's so gosh darn dark in here. And musty, and it smells. What the... You still and quiet your breathing, listening closely to the sound. You realize it's coming from above you. Is that Bartholomew? Of course he shows up now. Bartholomew, you'd better... You jerk your head up, but as soon as you do, your words die on your lips. The shadows on the ceiling are moving, engulfing the planks. Writhing! Why is the word writhing? Writhing! Staring back. Blood rushes to your face. What is that? But when you blink, they're gone. All that's above you are the wooden planks of the ceiling. Oh yeah, Cthulhu House. Cthulhu House! That's something. Stupid house. It's because this room is so dark. We have money for a new house, but not enough for a better light?
Who? Was it a mysterious man in yellow who sold your father this house?
You mutter to yourself and leave the room, aggravated by your family's inability to replace one light bulb. But you can't ignore your heart racing in your chest.
Mailed!
You jump at the sound of the doorbell, almost dropping the plastic gripped in your hand. You hadn't even realized you brought it with you.
Hey, Theo! Help!
When you open the door, Theo was standing there wearing a sheepish grin, a fresh batch of cookies clutched in their hands. Ooh! You scared me half to death.
Huh? By ringing the doorbell?
In my defense, it was really loud. I didn't even know it sounded like that.
I don't remember you being this jumpy, Espoir. Well, sorry, I keep seeing, like, Cthulhu things and shadows writhing on the ceiling, you know.
You huff at him, wrinkling your nose. You don't understand. I was in this disgusting room downstairs.
Your bedroom?
No, there's some utility closet right next to it. I didn't even know we had it until today.
You really don't know much about your house. Unless that room just suddenly appeared, like something wanted me to be in there. Bartholomew!
Shut up. I just got here. Anyway, that's where I found this bad boy. You raise the plastic sheet in your hand and shake it, creating a melody of that warbling noise for good measure.
And we're excited about the plastic because...
I was going to use it to cover up this hole in my wall.
Wait, hole?
It's such a long story.
It's not that long of a story. Cat got in the wall. Me and my cute new goth friend had to put a hole in the wall. Get the cat out. Cat was covered in goo.
You roll your eyes, you wave at them to follow you. Together, you walk downstairs to your room.
Behold!
You gesture dramatically to the hole, courtesy of Bartholomew the effin' worst, and Theo's jaw drops.
I almost don't know what happened here.
Let's just say there was an incident.
Definitely don't want to know what happened. So you're going to use that plastic to cover it up?
I was going to, but I don't know what to use to hang it up. You got here before I could find anything.
Just a second.
Theo leaves you alone in your room for a second before shortly returning. When they arrive, there's a roll of duct tape in their hands. Ooh, perfect.
Here, we can use this.
Oh, okay. They had gotten this so quickly. How did they know where to find it? How did they know where to find it?
Are you... Is it you? Are you him? Are you him?
Are you him? Are you him?
Are you the one doing the shenanigans, Theo? How did Aster know? How did Aster know what kind of coffee I liked? Just pointing fingers at everybody except Oscar.
They're awfully comfortable moving around here. Even you haven't gotten familiar with the new house yet. He's just searched through a couple of drawers? You're overthinking it? It's strange.
It's very strange.
Or it's suspicious and creepy.
It's just strange. It's just weird.
Theo grabs the plastic from your hands and makes their way to the hole. Oh, can you do 2 layers, by the way? I don't want to see into the hole, and just one sheet seems a little sheer.
Yeah, I can do that. Didn't know architecture creeped you out, though.
Yeah, sure, you act tough now, but don't think I forgot about the time when we were 10.
Okay. I was just kidding. No need to relive that memory.
You laugh and settle onto the couch while Theo gets to work.
Oh, by the way, try those cookies I brought. Just made them.
Well, it's about time you offered.
You know you never have to ask when it comes to me, Espoir. Actually, I'm pretty proud of them. It's my own recipe. Those cookies are what got me my current job at the restaurant.
Really? Well, don't mind if I do.
Now I want some cookies.
You can't help but feel excited now. Theo's pastries are always good, for them to be proud of this particular recipe. But when you bite into one, a cloying, almost sour taste envelops your mouth. Cloying. I am unfamiliar with this word. Your chewing slows, and you bite down the urge to gag. Theo, did you taste this batch yourself?
Huh? Yeah, I did. Well, I more than tasted it. Helped myself to a couple on the way here.
They shyly laughed, but you found it hard to reciprocate. Why did these cookies taste so weird? You put it down when they're not looking, and make conversation to distract yourself from the lingering flavor unpleasantly coating your tongue. Eventually, Theo finishes covering up the wall and joins you on the couch, moving some of the books currently piled up on one of the cushions. As they do, they pick one up, examining its cover.
The King in Yellow? Hey, this is a really dangerous book to have!
Well, I don't know if the book itself is dangerous, but I remember reading the story and learning about it.
This looks, dark. I didn't know you read these kinds of books.
Actually, that's one of my favorites. I picked it up in... Where did you get it again?
Yeah, MC. Where did you get this book? Has the book just always been here?
Well, where I got it isn't important. What is important is that it's been helping me brainstorm and plan for my book.
Huh. I have some horror books myself. I can lend you some too if you want it.
You know I'll never turn down a new book to read. They smile, the corners of their eyes wrinkling endearingly.
What's your newest project about?
I haven't formally outlined it yet, but I'm thinking something that's supernatural or otherworldly. It's definitely going to be sad. Maybe the supernatural forces causes some kind of tragedy? Causes it, or is drawn to it? The question crawls up from the depths of your thoughts, tugs at you. Which is it?
Don't make me choose.
A familiar shade of gray and black interrupts your musing, and you glance up to see none other than Bartholomew himself as he passes by your door. He's surprisingly clean. How did he get all that slime off?
Did you lick it? Did you lick it and now it's in your stomach and then you're gonna vomit it into my slippers? Good luck on your project. Knowing you, it'll turn out amazing.
Huh? Oh, yeah, thanks. You glance at Theo, momentarily forgetting that they were in the room with you. When you look back to where Bartholomew was, the cat has disappeared.
Again. It's the cat. The cat is the shenanigans. What do you want from me, cat?
So, how's your family been? Oh, Dad finally retired, and I think everyone's been busy getting settled into the new house. There's also that trip they're on right now. You recap everything that Theo might have missed since the last time you saw each other. But as you do, it feels strangely detached. The emotions you would have expected to experience, excitement, relief, nervousness, are nowhere to be found. It's strange. You've missed your family so much recently. That was why you had been so excited to move back home.
The words are glitchy. Does that mean someone's gaslighting me? Does that mean somebody's putting words in my mind?
After all, it's been so long since you've experienced your day-to-day with them.
Yeah, it's also kind of convenient that everyone is not in the house with me right now. Suspicious.
As you trail off, Theo responds with a gentle excitement.
That's good. I know how much your family means to you. And at this new house, we're so close to each other now. Maybe we can see each other more. I've missed you.
Theo's sitting closer to you now. Your hands could brush against one another with just a twitch of a finger. Somehow, during your conversation, they'd edge their way towards you, little by little. Place a pile of books between you? No. Adjust yourself, restoring some distance between you? No. Let them sit closer? Yes. After a moment, you clear your throat. Theo straightens as if snapping out of a daze. They shift away from you and re-establish distance, like a pendulum swinging back to its resting point. Aww. I think the main character and Theo should be a thing. They should totally be like a together thing. Why aren't you guys a thing? Thanks for the help, Theo. I know it's late now and you came here after work. If you want to stay over, you can sleep on the couch.
It is late. If it's not too much of a bother, I'd appreciate it. It'll be like our sleepovers when we were younger.
Except now we're adults and our bodies don't let us stay up late anymore.
And we have to wake up early for all of our adult responsibilities. Speaking of, I'll probably be gone before you wake up tomorrow. Morning shift at the restaurant and all.
That's fine. In that case, we should probably head to bed.
Aw, already?
Don't pout. You said it yourself, didn't you? Now that I'm here, we can hang out all we want.
I'm holding you to that promise.
Yeah, so needy. They chuckle as you stand from the couch. Within a couple minutes, the lights are off and you're in your own bed. Hopefully no shenanigans occur. It's dark. You can't see anything. As you look back and forth, your eyes settle on something in front of you. You strain your eyes through the darkness to make it out. Moonlight gleams off of a smooth surface. It looks like the plastic Theo taped over your bedroom wall. You lean closer, trying to discern the image before you. You're searching for something, but you're not sure what. As if pulled by some invisible force, you can't stop staring at the plastic sheet before you, at whatever lies past it. Goosebumps creep up your neck. You almost expect something to crawl out from the hole in front of you. You hate the shadows, but you pray they continue to hide whatever lies waiting in the black abyss. It's like an eternity passes. Your body refuses to move. Your eyes burn from watching the darkness. Eventually, the invisible force releases you, and you close your eyes. When you wake, you're wrapped in plastic. What? You try to inhale, and the plastic sheet bends inwards. Exhale, and it expands away. It refuses to give you the slightest inch, always following your breath, slowly, ever so slowly suffocating you. You try to breathe faster, try to break free, escape the shadowed movements of the plastic. It's not working. Your lungs burn. You need to breathe faster. 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 Ah! You jolt awake. Your clothes clung to your body, drenched in sweat. Your throat feels raw and your breaths are ragged, just as fast as those you felt in your dream. Dream? Was that all a dream? Morning light fills your room, and you look around. Sure enough, as Theo had warned, they've already left. You hardly get a chance to miss their presence. However, in its wake, you're filled with something inexplicable. You hardly know how to describe the feeling, like inspiration, but stronger, scarier. You're filled with a frenzied desire to write. It possesses you, claws at you. You sit at your desk and begin writing this thing that demands to be heard. Hours pass, and your hand refuses to stop. Ideas and visions continue to pour out and fill your notebook. Page after page, you fill the canvas with words and scribbles. Some of it might not even be legible. But you don't care. You can't write fast enough. Where is your journal? You swear you wrote this reference down somewhere. Your desk is a mess. It's pure chaos, simply sifting through all the books, journals, papers sprawled out around you. There are notes tucked away in your journal, pages folded so many times they're hardly legible through the deep creases. But still, you continue to write. This plot hums to you in the back of your mind like a siren's call. You pick up a book, The King in Yellow, and thumb through the pages. You're so glad you bought this. Did you buy it? There's writing in the margins. It's frantic and rushed. It's in the walls. In the walls. Your thought process is getting harder and harder to follow. What did you mean by this? You flip through the pages, trying to follow your own train of thought. It knows I'm here. We can't trust them. I'm not crazy, if it's real. You stare at the book. The handwriting doesn't look like yours, but it is familiar. I did it. I got them. Who wrote this? Your voice croaks out, almost unrecognizable. When's the last time you drank something? Ate? Oh, wait. This handwriting, it's unfamiliar. A buzzing pulls you from the depths of your writing hold. What is that? You finally remember your phone. When you check it, you see a message from Theo. Hey, you alive in there? Or did the writing hole swallow you? You chuckle. They do know you well. It's like I'm possessed by a cat or a house to write about eldritch horrors. You don't even get the chance to answer when the next comes through. I'm anticipating you haven't eaten. How about I bring you some food? I made your favorite. You know it should be tempting, but it isn't. You can already feel your story pulling for your attention, begging you to listen to it. Lol, yeah, I guess so. I'm good though, thanks. I anticipated that also. I know you haven't fed yourself, you absolute creature. Too bad for you, I'm already here. Open the door? You click your tongue, torn between amusement and frustration. Per usual, Theo knows you too well. While you want to finish the story, you know there's no point. They're already here, after all. That's a good friend. That's a really good friend right there. Why aren't they a thing? He knows you have a habit of not eating, so he already took the liberty of coming to your house with food. Why have you not married this person? When you open the door, you realize how long it's been since you've been outside. How long were you stuck in your writing hole? Whoa! I know it's been a couple of days since we saw each other, but you look like you've been in the hole for months. Wait. Days? Was I writing for days? Who has fed Bartholomew? Is this why my sister hired a cute goth guy to take care of the cat? You've been writing for days? Everything is such a blur. All you remember is your pen flying over the paper. This better not be your first meal since I saw you. Obviously not. How would I be talking to you right now if that were the case? It was a joke. Geez, I'm tempted to pull you out here so you can get some fresh air, but I think you'll scare off the neighbors. Ha ha, very funny. Luckily for you, you get to come hang out in my writing cave instead. You both walk downstairs, and Theo whistles as soon as they enter your room. Yep, smells like a writing hole to me. I am right here. They laugh and hand you your food. I say it out of love. Sure. Your home-cooked meal sits tantalizingly in a little container. It's still warm. Steam wafts up towards you. Ready to dig in, you sit on the couch and take a bite. It's sour. You furrow your brow. Again? Is there something wrong with your taste buds or my taste buds? It takes everything in you to swallow. Theo starts talking again, and you mentally thank them for giving you an excuse not to eat this. Wow, looks like you've got a lot of writing done. Yeah, I haven't been this inspired in a long time. You join them at your desk and pull a couple of scattered papers. I mean, the plot is a bit of a mess right now. The papers slowly start to stack up into piles and piles of notes from the past couple of days. I can tell. But the story is about these really gruesome murders. Here, see? You point to the top of the pile, and they're connected to... Theo visibly frowns. Confused, you glance at the paper you're pointing at, the ones detailing how the murders occurred. Wait a second now. What did that say? Didn't let me read it. What did that say? Oh, okay. It overwrote, detailing how the murders would happen, and changes it to... But when you look, you see a list of instructions on how to get into the house. Huh? You lift up the top paper. This one must have gotten thrown into the mix of the chaos that was on your desk. Mm-hmm. Shenanigans. The next page is a reminder of tasks you need to do while your family is away. Hold on, it was right here. Does something not want him to know how people are going to get murdered? You shuffle through the papers, searching for the notes you actually wanted to show Theo. Oh, I brought you that horror book I told you about. Let me go get it while you find your notes. They run off as you continue to search, but for some reason you can't find the pages you were looking for. Getting frustrated, you huff and take a break. Maybe now isn't the right time. After all, you've been staring at your desk for days now. Time passes, and Theo still isn't coming back. What's taking them so long? You go upstairs to search for them, and find the front door to the house wide open. Why did the music stop? It's silent, except for the night air blowing into the house. Theo? Your voice breaks through the silence, but you get no response. You peek your head outside, but you see nothing. Your skin crawls. You feel like you're being watched. Heart thudding in your chest, you slam the door. There's no sign of them out there. You walk through the house. They must be somewhere inside. Theo? Hi. Hello? How do you do, sir, and or madam, and or they, them? Something is standing behind you. A shadowed haze. Whatever it is. You're sure it's not human? You scream and it rushes towards you. Its movements too inhumanly stilted to call running. Panicked and trapped, you grab the nearest object, a heavy picture frame, and slam its edge into the creature's head. Glass shatters everywhere, cutting your hand, splattering blood across your face. Adrenaline renders you unable to register anything beyond the cold, sticky feeling of your own blood. You reach back to strike again, another scream of terror ripping from your throat. Oh! Theo's on the ground, their glasses cracked, splayed across the rug. Blood flows heavily from a cut above their eye. No!